My coworker stole my promotion and called me replaceable. Then the CEO read my email out loud. Nothing destroys workplace loyalty faster than hearing someone else get credit for your work. Especially when that person spent months pretending to be your friend. But the real humiliation didn't happen when my promotion was stolen. It happened later, in a conference room packed with executives. When the CEO opened an email I never expected anyone important to read. And suddenly the coworker who called me replaceable couldn't even look up from the table. My name is Lauren Mitchell. I am 29 years old and I live in Boston, USA. And this is the story of how my coworker stole my promotion, mocked me publicly, and then watched her entire career collapse because of one email. I worked for a large marketing analytics company in downtown Boston. Fast-paced environment, corporate politics, the kind of place where people smiled in meetings while quietly competing behind each other's backs. I had been there for 4 years, long enough to understand how everything worked, and more importantly, long enough to know who could be trusted, or at least who I thought could be trusted. Her name was Vanessa Cole. Smart, confident, extremely charming. The type of coworker who remembered everyone's birthdays while secretly collecting information like ammunition. At first we worked well together. Actually more than well. I helped her constantly. Presentations, client strategy, campaign planning, late-night deadline fixes. Whenever she fell behind, I covered for her. Whenever she panicked before meetings, I helped prepare her notes. And every single time, she thanked me like a genuine friend. That was my mistake. Believing gratitude meant loyalty. The promotion opportunity appeared 6 months later. Senior Strategy Director. Huge salary increase. Leadership role. And everyone in the office knew only 2 people were seriously being considered. Me and Vanessa. I wasn't arrogant about it. But I knew my numbers were stronger. My campaigns consistently outperformed expectations. Clients requested me directly. Even upper management hinted I was the favorite. Vanessa acted supportive the entire time. Too supportive. You deserve it, she told me repeatedly. I'd honestly be happy for you. Looking back now, people lying the hardest usually sound the calmest. The final presentation for the promotion happened on a Thursday morning. Months of work, research, data, strategy development, everything I built personally. Vanessa presented before me, and within 30 seconds, my stomach dropped, because I recognized the slides immediately. Not similar, not inspired by. Mine's entire concepts, exact phrasing, even data structures I created privately. At first, I genuinely thought it had to be some misunderstanding. Until she reached one slide. A phrase I wrote word for word in my private proposal notes. That's when I knew. She stole it. All of it. I sat frozen during the rest of her presentation, watching executives nod approvingly at ideas she didn't create. Watching months of my work become hers in real time. And the worst part, she never looked nervous. Not once. That level of confidence only comes from believing you won't get caught. After the meeting ended, I confronted her immediately. What the hell was that? I asked quietly. She didn't even pretend confusion. That shocked me most. Instead, she smiled slightly. Cold. Controlled. You waited too long, she said simply. I stared at her. That was my work. And then she said the sentence I will never forget. Lauren, everyone in this company is replaceable. The way she said it. Calmly. Like basic business logic. made something inside me shift permanently. 2 days later, the promotion announcement came. And just like I feared, Vanessa got it. The office applauded. Management celebrated. And I stood there smiling mechanically while my entire body felt numb. But deep down, something wasn't adding up. Because Vanessa stole more than ideas. She stole files only accessible through internal draft systems. Private systems, meaning she didn't just copy my work. She accessed it intentionally. That night I went through old emails carefully. Folders, draft timestamps, shared server logs. And slowly, I found it. Evidence. Login records connected to my project folder. Access times matching Vanessa's employee credentials. Unauthorized downloads. Everything. My hands shook while staring at the screen. Because suddenly this wasn't office betrayal anymore. It was provable. I should have reported her immediately. But I didn't. Not yet. Because something else bothered me more. Management moved too quickly. Too confidently. Like the decision had already been made before presentations even happened. Then 3 days later, I accidentally overheard something in the executive hallway. One senior manager whispering to another. Vanessa already had support from leadership months ago. That sentence changed everything. The promotion wasn't stolen at the end. It was arranged from the beginning. I went home furious that night. Not emotional. Clear. Focused. And around midnight, I wrote one email. Not emotional. Not dramatic. Just fact. Evidence attached. Server records. Presentation comparisons. Timeline breakdowns. Everything. I sent it directly to corporate ethics oversight. And copied exactly one additional person. The CEO. Honestly, I never expected him to read it personally. People like him usually don't. Then Monday morning happened. An emergency executive meeting was suddenly scheduled. Entire department required attendance. Vanessa looked confident walking in. Almost smug. Until the CEO himself entered the room. Holding printed papers in his hand. And then, he said my name first. The second the CEO said my name, the entire room changed. People straightened in their seats. Vanessa stopped smiling. And suddenly the meeting didn't feel routine anymore. It felt dangerous. The CEO placed a stack of printed papers on the conference table slowly. Not dramatically. Not emotionally. Which somehow made it worse. I received an email this weekend, he said calmly. One that raised serious concerns regarding internal ethics violations. Nobody moved. Nobody even touched their coffee anymore. Then he looked directly at me. Lauren Mitchell, he said, thank you for documenting everything thoroughly. My heart started pounding instantly. Because now this wasn't private anymore. This was public. Vanessa shifted slightly beside me. The first visible crack in her confidence. The CEO continued. I reviewed the evidence personally. He lifted one of the printed pages. Server access records, project duplication timelines, internal draft extraction. Every word landed harder than the last. Because the room understood exactly what was happening now. This wasn't office gossip. This was investigation language. Then he said the sentence that completely destroyed the atmosphere. It appears company intellectual work was intentionally misrepresented. A silence hit the room so heavy it felt physical. Vanessa finally spoke. This is being misunderstood. Her voice sounded controlled. But thinner now. The CEO looked at her calmly. Is it? Then he held up another document. A comparison sheet. My original proposal draft beside her presentation. Highlighted sections everywhere. Entire paragraphs identical. I watched people around the table, slowly realizing the truth in real time. Managers, executives, co-workers, people who applauded her promotion days earlier. Vanessa tried again quickly. We collaborated on some materials. That almost made me laugh. Collaborated. Such a corporate word for theft. The CEO interrupted immediately. No, he said flatly. Collaboration requires permission. That line hit the room like a hammer. Then came the part nobody expected. The CEO opened my email fully and started reading parts of it out loud. Not emotional parts. Not angry parts. The evidence. Timestamp records. Unauthorized logins. File transfers. Private draft access. Everything. And with every sentence, Vanessa's expression collapsed further. Because facts are brutal when spoken publicly, especially in rooms built on reputation. Then the CEO read the final paragraph of my email. The one I almost deleted before sending. I can accept losing a promotion fairly. I cannot accept being erased from my own work. Complete silence followed. Even people who disliked me looked uncomfortable now. Because humiliation changes when truth enters the room. The CEO lowered the papers slowly, then turned directly toward Vanessa. Did you access Lauren's project files without authorization? Vanessa opened her mouth slightly, closed it again, then finally said, I was under pressure. That answer ended her career instantly. Everyone knew it. Even her. Because she didn't deny it. She explained it. The CEO leaned back in his chair slowly. I asked for an answer, he said calmly. Not an excuse. Vanessa looked around the room desperately, probably hoping someone would defend her. No one did. Not one person. Interesting how silence feels different depending on who's suffering. 3 months earlier, people stayed silent while my work was stolen. Now they stayed silent while hers collapsed. The CEO finally stood up and said the words that completely changed the situation. Effective immediately, the promotion decision is suspended pending disciplinary review. Vanessa's face lost color instantly. Then he looked toward me and added, Lauren Mitchell, please remain after the meeting. That sentence alone changed every power dynamic in the room. People started avoiding Vanessa's eyes immediately. Co-workers who used to crowd around her suddenly acted busy. Phones became fascinating. Laptops became urgent. Nobody wanted proximity to failure. The meeting ended quietly. Painfully quietly. As people filed out, Vanessa stopped beside me briefly. Her voice low. You really did all this over a promotion. I looked at her carefully. And for the first time, I realized she truly didn't understand what she did wrong. This stopped being about the promotion, I said calmly. The second you decided I was replaceable. She didn't respond. Because there was nothing left to say. After everyone left, the CEO closed the conference room door. Then sat across from me. I owe you an apology, he said directly. That surprised me more than anything else that day. Executives rarely apologize cleanly. They usually bury accountability inside corporate language. But not this time. We should have caught this earlier, he admitted. And frankly, we ignored the wrong employee. I stayed quiet. Because validation feels strange after prolonged disrespect. Then he said something else I never expected. The promotion was influenced internally before final review. There it was. Confirmation. Exactly what I suspected. Meaning, I asked carefully, He sighed. Certain executives pushed aggressively for Vanessa regardless of performance data. Corporate favoritism. Predictable. Ugly. Common. But now, exposed. A week later, Vanessa officially resigned before termination proceedings completed. Not because she wanted dignity, because resignation sounds better on LinkedIn. And 2 weeks after that, the company announced a restructuring of leadership review policies. Funny how organizations suddenly discover ethics after public embarrassment. As for me, I finally received the promotion. But strangely, that wasn't the most satisfying part. The most satisfying part happened one afternoon in the office kitchen. 2 junior employees were discussing project ownership carefully, double-checking credit, making sure contributions were documented properly. One of them looked at me nervously and said, "We are trying to avoid another Vanessa situation." That's when I realized something important. Real revenge isn't always destroying someone publicly. Sometimes it's becoming the reason the system can never ignore people like you again. And the woman who once called me replaceable, she accidentally made me impossible to overlook.